Hey, good morning, class. Welcome in. We are going to start our third unit today. Now, we've taken a look at what the economy is. We've defined it. We've also taken a look at economic systems. Now, we're going to kind of jump forward and start taking a look at some money management. We're going to take a look at savings, investing, and the stock market. So that's going to be our third unit here, with the stock game being our project, which I'm excited to get into. But let's talk about saving and why we would save in the first place. So, here we go. So, deciding to save. Now, economists define saving as the setting aside of income for a period of time so that it can be useful later on. Okay? Any saving that you do now may be only for purchases that require more funds than you have at one time. Now, when an individual saves, the economy as a whole will benefit. Okay? Saving provides funds for others to invest or spend. Saving also allows businesses to expand, which provides increased income for consumers, and it raises the standard of living. Okay? Now, generally, people think of letting money gain interest when it is saved. Interest is the payment people receive when they lend funds or allow someone else to use their funds. A person receives interest on a savings plan for as long as the funds are in the account. Okay, we're going to take a look at some different types of savings plans today. And to be honest, again, if I could look back at the end of my high school career, when I took my econ class and going into college, I wish I would have saved more, okay? Straight up, saving is a much better option. It's a better idea, and it's definitely beneficial down the road. Now, there are some steps to saving, okay? The first step is, hey, we want to determine what reasons we have to save, all right? Is it personal? Is it financial? Is it for college? Is it for travel? Is it for vacation? You know, what kind of reasons do you have where you're saying to yourself, hey, I'm going to set aside a certain amount of money for the future, okay? So once you determine why you want to save, what reason you have, then you're going to want to start determining how much or the amount of funds that you're going to want to set aside, okay? What you'll also have to end up deciding is you're going to want to decide what type of account you're going to use. We're going to talk about each of these savings accounts in just a moment. So your standard savings account, an MMDA, a time deposit, CD. Again, think about what you want to do when you save. And also deciding on the frequency of deposit. How often am I setting aside X amount of money in my savings account? Is it once every week? Is it once every paycheck? Is it once a month? Is it maybe only a handful of times a year? How often? And that frequency is going to be important. Okay? And then also, again, decisions as to when you want to invest a portion of what you have saved. So at some point, do you want to invest in other projects down the road? All right, we're going to talk about diversification later on this unit, being able to diversify that portfolio, being able to invest in other areas. Again, some people put that savings into stocks. Again, you're going to look at a lot of different options. There's a lot of flexibility, okay? Now, let's talk about a basic savings account, okay? So a basic savings account is an interest-earning account that has no set maturity. We're going to talk about maturity in just a little bit. Funds can be withdrawn at any time without penalty to the account owner. So yeah, you know, you at your bank, you've got your checking account, you've got your savings account. You might have already be doing this. You might be saying, okay, hey, I get my paycheck from work. It's $500. I'm going to put $400 into my checking. I'm going to put $100 into my savings. Boom, you're all set. Okay? So again, funds can be withdrawn anytime. That's the nice part of it. However, with a savings account, there are some limitations. There are some restrictions. We'll get into the pros and cons here in just a moment. Now, we also have what we call a money-making deposit account, an MMDA, okay? This is an account that pays relatively high rates of interest, all right, requires a minimum balance. So you do have a certain amount of money that has to go in, and it does allow immediate access to your funds. The trade-off is that the minimum balance required is typically ranging from $1,000 to $2,500 that you're going to have to put in with an MMDA. Okay, customers can only write a few checks a month against the account. So with a savings account, you kind of have unlimited flexibility. With an MMDA, you're going to have to be limited in terms of the amount of checks that you can write. Time deposits. Okay, so the term time deposits refers to a wide variety of savings plans that require a saver to deposit his or her funds for a certain period of time. This period of time is called maturity, okay? At the end, deposits will be a stated rate of interest, okay? This might vary from 7 days to 8 years or more, okay? So there's a maturity rate, and really you can only take out the funds once the funds become mature enough, okay, depending on what you select. Now, time deposits are often called certificates of deposit, CDs. Okay, back in my day, music-wise, we grew up listening to CDs on those CD-ROMs, music CDs. That shows how old I am. But in financial terms, CDs are certificates of deposit. Okay, now time deposits state the amount of time, the amount that's in the deposit, the maturity rate, and then the rate of interest that's being paid. Okay, now here's a couple of the benefits. Time deposits offer higher interest rates than regular savings accounts. All right, maturity on a short-term basis, about 90 days, 3 months worth, will have less interest than a CD with 2 years maturity. So savers who cash out before maturity can receive a penalty. If you cash out before the maturity rate is set, you can get essentially that amount of money deducted. So what the thing is here with the CD, you want to let it mature longer. All right, you want it to stay in for a while. You want it to stay in for multiple years as opposed to just a few months or just a few weeks, okay? Okay, so let's take a look here. All right, we have a savings account versus a CD. Now, in the first column, again, we have savings account. We're going to say that each situation, $1,000 are invested, okay? Now, the interest rate for a savings account is 0.8%, all right? And the savings account original investment after 12 months, you're going to see it grow to $1,008. All right. With the CD, however, the interest rate is at 4.0%. And oh, wow. All right. So the original investment, $1,000. After 12 months, it's grown to $1,040. Okay. So the CD, again, has higher growth. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at some of the pros and cons here. So with the savings account, again, unlimited withdrawals, low minimum balance requirements, low or no fees, access to ATMs, compatible with electronic transfers. The cons, however, with the savings account, very low interest rates, all right, and sometimes, again, depending on your bank, a limited number of withdrawals per month. Okay, with an MMDA, the pros, again, relatively high interest rates compared to savings and checking accounts. You can write checks, you can make ATM withdrawals, and perform electronic transfers. Cons, again, you need to have a high minimum deposit required to avoid monthly fees, and again, limited amount of withdrawals per month. Now with the CD, pros, higher rates of interest than a savings account. The interest rate doesn't change during the term of the account, so that doesn't fluctuate. Whatever the rate is, it's going to stay that number. There are no fees when you hold your account to maturity. So once you get to that maturity level, if you are able to hold on, all right, for those 3 months or whatever is set, there's no fees there. Now, the cons are, again, penalties for early withdrawal. So if you withdraw before maturity is reached, it makes your money less liquid, okay? There are no access to your deposits through checks, ATMs, or electronic transfers, however, okay? So again, pros and cons for each of these saving options. Now, insuring deposits. So here's the thing. We have learned a lot since the stock market crash in 1929. Now, when the stock market crashed in 1929, the resulting financial crisis wiped out most people's entire savings. Remember, in that initial, reaction, those few months, those few weeks after the stock market crashed, people lost everything. And people, unfortunately, they were taking their own lives. You saw people jumping out of, buildings, these kind of things. It hit hard. And after this, again, 1929, essentially the government's going to step in, and to ensure that this wouldn't happen again, Congress passed, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, is going to sign legislation to protect your savings accounts. So this legislation created something that you may be familiar with if you're into banking already, the FDIC, so the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. Now, the FDIC, what does it do? It protects our savings, it protects our MMDAs, it protects our CDs, and our regular checking accounts. Now, today, there are several agencies that insure the banks and savings institutions. So, the National Credit Union Association, the NCUA, protects depositors' funds up to $250,000. If you got more than that, probably not going to be protected by the NCUA. If a bank fails, each depositor will be paid the full amount up to $250,000. The reason for this is to essentially the banks collapsing in 2008. All right, this financial crisis decreased the confidence that people had with banks and other financial institutions. Hey, again, people lost a lot. Some people lost everything in 2008, and that trust is still slowly kind of building back up between the people and the banks. Okay, but the NCUA is an organization that is something that is designed to protect your savings accounts. Okay, all right. So again, a little crash course here into why we save, different types of savings accounts, and we're going to start taking a look at the stock market. We're going to start taking a look at retirements and investing. Okay, that'll be later on in this unit. It is a shorter unit, by the way. Only 3 topics that we're going to discuss. All right, take care. We have a journal log as well, and I'll see you next time. So long, folks.